Welcome to News with a View, hosted by me, John A. Costa. This is a conservative-leaning podcast, but I do take in facts from both sides. And if it makes sense, it makes sense. If it makes political sense, it makes sense. It's about common sense, folks. I'm a conservative. I am a Republican, not MAGA. I use the Constitution, state constitutions, the law. That's what binds us together, folks. And we can have our feelings about the law and we can have our feelings about the Constitution. But until either are changed, you got to obey the ones that are there. It's very simple. And we seem to have gotten away from that. I want to welcome my new viewers. Thank you. And I got some questions on, where do I get my information from? I take it from the left. I take it from the right. How do you know, what it's saying? And that is a true statement. How do you judge, oh, I only listen to Fox or I only listen to MSNBC. No. I go on C-SPAN. And if you want to know what's going on and honestly hear it from the people's mouths, watch C-SPAN. It's boring. It can get, dizzy. But you do hear people talk, and you do hear what they're saying and what they're thinking at that particular time. I love listening to Senator John Kennedy. It's always enjoyable watching him, as I call it, dissect people that he gets to speak with. I would not want to face that individual, and I wouldn't lie to him. I wouldn't try to do an end run around the question, because he's asking a question that he already knows the answer to, and you better almost word for word give him that answer, because he'll at least respect that. I don't like Senator Whitehouse from Rhode Island. If you've heard him speak, he's like a child, a crybaby. Just not anyone that I have much respect for. And I do have respect for Democrats, a John Fetterman. I do have respect for people like that. I don't. I kind of like Rand Paul, and Rand Paul is someone that, when he questions things, you should listen to it a little bit and dig in, just find out what his beef is. But he's sometimes too pure. His goals are unrealistic. And I've said before, I don't mind people, coming out and saying things like, well, no one should go hungry. No one. Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. How do you make it happen? How do you feed the world? How do you take the government out of those countries and free people? I mean, I get that idea, but it has to be able to happen. And, it has to start somewhere. I get that too. But then don't complain when we go into a country and arm them to their teeth to overthrow their government, because the first thing the government does is take the people's weapons away from them so they can't overthrow them. Just so you know. The first thing we do when we do an insurgency is we arm them. But watch C-SPAN. and you'll get the answers. Today is June 11th, 2026. This is episode 83 for the year. You can go into my videos and see what I discuss. I was putting stuff up on playlists. I stopped doing that because I really didn't get a lot of views. More people went to my videos and my lives. And this is going out live. When you don't see characters and texts and fonts and stuff, then that's my live show. When you see my video, you'll be getting little tidbits in there. And I sometimes put timelines in, so if there's a particular story you want to look at, you can just zoom in right into that, look at it, and be done with it. If you like the show, if you're watching it, if you like it, please subscribe, or at least leave a comment. I like comments, and they don't have to be good comments. They could be bad comments. They could be, you don't know what you're talking about. You're this, you're that. That's fine. That's fine. Today, I'm going to be talking about, of course, the Democrats and cracks in their foundation. Even though there are people saying, "Oh, they're getting better." They're, look, we're over here. The polls are showing. Yeah. The other thing I'm going to speak about is all this, 86-46. We all know what it means. People that go, "Oh, no, that doesn't mean..." Yeah, stop it. Stop it. We all know what it means. We see, again, the screaming over a verdict in Texas. Carmelo Anthony. So we're going to discuss that a little bit. There's a lot of things that need to be discussed, and a lot of things that are wrong, and we need to really look at ourselves. And you got to take responsibility. So we're going to be talking a little bit about what's going on with Graham Paltner out of Maine. He's in trouble, and he's just getting deeper and deeper into it. And there's people that say that it's no big deal. There's certain people, it might not be a big deal. What's going on with Iran and the negotiations? I do not like Trump's stick and carrot approach to telling us what's going on. I want it. Of course, we would like a deal. We know that the Iranians will never keep to their word. They just won't do it. And who are we dealing with over there? I wasn't going to jump to this first, but I am going to jump to what's going on in Iran. I think the president should honestly just give a drop-dead date to them and tell them exactly what we're going to do. First, we're going to take out your electric. Then we're going to take out any roads that you can use to export oil by truck, by bucket, however way you can get it out. We're going to stop that. and then we're going to go after your water. And then we're going to take out Karg Island. Not your oil fields. Just whatever means you have to send it out. So then we don't have to worry about ships coming into your harbor or leaving it, because there'll be no reason to, you know. And you wither and die on the vine. And this is what Trump should be doing. And I realize he might not want to do that, but that is what he has put in motion. The Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, they respect violence. So make them respect you a lot by being extremely violent. And this is what you're going to have to do. And it's sad for the people in Iran, but that's the way it goes, folks. If you're going to want a regime change, you got to start decapitating people. And I understand what the military, our military, is looking at, is that you're going to have to deal with someone over there. And the military usually stays pretty tight. So you use them. But they're not reliable and they're not trustworthy. And you have to bring them down, to their knees. Because when you're dealing with people in the Middle East, they're either at your throat or at your feet. I'd rather have them at my feet. And I do not agree with how the president is communicating this. You know, he gets up there, we're this close, we're close, and then, bang. And whether or not we lose airplanes or boats or ships and people, it's horrible. I don't want to see that happen, but that's what we have a military for. No one is forcing the people to join or to serve. They serve at the behest of the United States government. That's what it is, folks. That's what it is. And it's just something that needs to get done, and not quickly. Doing things quickly is doing things sloppy. But, and I know that President Trump is probably sitting back going, I'm going to wait until I hear, and I don't want to destroy them. You got people here screaming. I got people over there screaming. I don't want to be the guy that goes in there and kills a whole bunch of people. But he's the guy that goes in there and kills a whole bunch of people. That's the door you opened. And rightfully so, you opened the door correctly. There is a way for Iran to to be a plutonium maker. There is a way. But they have to agree to the way we want it done. And if they deviate from it, if they stop it, if they go, well, now we don't want to do that, then hell visits them again. And then there is no deal. But we will already be in place So there are ways for us and the world to feel secure that if they want to sell plutonium, if that's their deal, then if they do it the way we want them to do it and with all the safeguards, I might be able to live with that. It also gives the world a sense to say, maybe we have to find a different way to make atomic energy. And then that way, the only times you would use plutonium is if you want to make a weapon. You know? So if they come back into the fold of what we want, then I think something could be worked out. But if they refuse, if they say, no, we want complete control over it, you have no say over it, you have nothing. No, because you can't be trusted. And I'd rather see a prolonged fight here. And just get it over with. Pull the Band-Aid off. Get it over with. So, all right. That is my thing, 15 minutes, 13 minutes of speaking on Iran. Let's go look at the Democrats. And we've seen Graham Paltner. He has a problem, and Democrats are having a problem with him. I don't see it. There are some Democrats saying that he's going to be off the ticket. I don't see that happening. I don't see that happening. Not unless there's something really, really big coming out. And then, the Democrats, state committee can always replace Plattner with, the governor who wanted to run but lost the primary. And again, I said in the show on the 10th that was really silly of the Democrats not to support the governor because she had the votes. She had the votes. She could take Susan Collins, and she could turn that state. But they went with a progressive. A young person, that now is questionable. Very silly. Very silly. You have Chuck Schumer out there saying that he has made the Democrats stronger. I was the punching bag for over a year, but I'm the one that put the Democrats back on track. What track? The side rail? What track, Schumer, have you put the Democrats back on? Cory Booker, Jeffries, horrible. Horrible. Show me where you've put them back on track. Well, we won some. Yeah, you won blue states that you're going to win. We know that. We know that those are states you're going to win. Now, just a heads up here, folks. I might be getting a call that I must take. And if I do, I'm going to go to black, and then I can't edit the on-air live piece. I might be able to do that, but I won't. And I'll be off for about 10 minutes. But that's only if I get the call. That's why I wanted to make this, just 10 more minutes, because I do expect a call between 9:30 and 10 o'clock. But Schumer is really, after the midterms, maybe if the Democrats take back the Senate, maybe if the Democrats take back the House, maybe if they take more seats, and but they're not going to take the Senate. That's not going to happen. And I don't think they're going to take the House. So when the Democrats don't win, then they're going to have to replace Schumer, and they're going to have to replace Jeffries. Who are they going to replace him with? A Democrat? Raskin. He's another one. All he does is, I'm going to impeach Trump. I'm going to make articles. You guys haven't done anything for anyone. You're fighting for illegals. You're fighting for criminals. You know what? America knows it. America knows it. You guys are in big trouble. And it's too late now. We're going to be into July. You're not recovering from this, folks. There is no upsurge. With the Republicans, it's just what Republican's going to win. We got primaries in South Carolina. You got a lot of people that run off races. It's just a matter of what Republican's going to win. And that's basically for governors and some other, the state legislators. But state legislators are important too. It is our House of Representatives. That's the biggie. That's the biggie. Keeper of the purse. They hold it. So, Democrats need to get their act together. I think it's too late. I just can't see them continuing on. The path that they're going, it's rhetoric. It's, we hate Trump. 86-46. All this nonsense of the hate. And you have people going, no, that's not what it means. It just means no. We know what it means. And you're lying. And don't tell me that, no, that isn't what it means. It's just 86-40. It doesn't mean anything. Well, neither then does coon, Sambo, boy, fag. That doesn't mean anything either then, right? Oh, no, those words mean something. Yeah. Stop the lies. Comey, you had every right to put seashells 86-46. It's not a problem. We know what you were doing. Your problem now was that you lied to federal investigators. You tried to deceive them. You tried to take them off the track. by saying, I didn't know what that meant. If you didn't know what it meant, why'd you take a picture of it and put it up? How many times did you see something that you put a picture up? I don't know what that means. Right? You lied to federal agents. You should have known better. You sat there, tried to be a super lawyer. And you're a good lawyer. But if you went in there and spoke to the feds without having a lawyer with you to stop you from letting your ego get in front of you, you're an idiot. But then you did that to General Flynn. Doesn't feel good, does it? Yeah, it's amazing how that comes back and haunts you, huh? Right? So, amazing how that works, right? You people are something else. Democrats, progressives. Now, the scream right now is Carmelo Anthony didn't get a fair trial. Because, you have people saying because his lawyer was white. Because the jury was made up of not his peers. And it was racist. He got a trial. He had a defense. He had representation. The best that the GoFundMe money could pay for. He murdered a person. He brought a knife with him to a track meet. Why? I ran track. I didn't have a knife. So he was prepared for something. And he said he was shoved. So he defended himself with a knife. Why'd you bring a knife? Why didn't you shove back? Why didn't you duke it out? He got his trial, folks. And if you could show that the prosecution did something wrong in their in evidence, or then you can appeal it. But until that time, this kid gets his, 17 and a half years before he could see, which he still comes out a young man. But the crying of, racism, and, George Floyd, so this is George Floyd, no. And we all know that George Floyd was a criminal. Now, I still say that the autopsy report showing that, he didn't die of, he died of, because he had drugs in his system. I mean, you talk about being railroaded. Right. There is a case that everyone should be screaming about, has to be really looked at again. And, that was being railroaded. Now, what happened in Tennessee, where the officers kicked to death a suspect. Yeah, no, there's no question about what happened there. No question. That person wasn't resisting arrest. They were already subdued. He was no longer a threat, even though he ran off. They had to capture him, whatever. The threat was gone. So, where you have these people that want to cause problems, and I think that it should be very straightforward to these people that if you think you're going to sit there and riot, that we're going to sit back and allow this to happen again under, social justice. Not happening. Ain't happening, folks. So, this kid gets shipped off to jail. He'll be lucky if he makes it a year. And that's sad. That's sad. They'll have to put him in isolation or whatever because he thinks he's a thug. He hasn't seen thugs yet. All right. LA, we talked about that the other day. More fraud. More fraud. $300 million in homeless, or $36 million that can't be accounted for, and then $1 billion over here and $300 million over there, and LA is now coming underneath the watchful eye of Vice President Vance. The committee looking over the Minnesota fraud has recommended a Department of Justice investigation into Walz and Ellison, where they have corroborated testimony of Democratic state workers who are Democrats, who for years have been reporting fraud to the governor, and Ellison, who took no action until the federal government got involved. And then they started to take action. But in that meantime, they were trying to cover their tracks. I see some bad times ahead for Walz, and I see Ellison being disbarred for lying. I see a lot of bad things happening there, folks. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. Illinois, you're next. New Jersey, you got some protection, but there's going to be a major problem there, too. There's already investigations going on. I'm not just saying blue states. Well, like I said before, where there's federal money, there's always fraud. I don't care if it's blue state, red state. It's about green. It's about green. You get federal money, and it's loosey-goosey. Yeah. Yeah. So, we know that, we know where this is heading, and it's going to be very political, and rightfully so. because they made it political. So, should be no mercy towards them. No mercy. This is basically an unscripted show today because I am running. This has been 35 minutes. I'm going to be ending this. Again, people watching, thank you. We made it this far. Just look at C-SPAN and watch C-SPAN. And you can find out all these people who talk. And see what they're saying in front of C-SPAN. Because the snippets you see in the news are only 10-second snippets when they're out stomping at meetings and things like that. But here, they're going on the record. So, it's a good place to get your information. Please give to a charity if you can. Just make sure that charity is a reputable charity. Don't become a victim trying to help victims. If you're not interested in that, which is fine, please think about giving to a local food bank. They always need food, and they always can use a monetary contribution. And then if you're there and you say, hey, I'm giving you these cans of food, that's nice, and giving you $20. And do you need clothes? Do you need this? Do you handle that? Or is there another chapter that you know, because I got a closet full of clothes? It will make you feel good. And you're helping your community, right? It's going right there for the most part. Right there. Say a prayer. Prayer does work no matter what a Democrat might tell you. If you want to know why I say that, leave a comment. Ask me. I'll tell you. And with that, everyone be safe. I'm going to try to get this thing out the door as quick as possible. And with that, I say thank you. And everyone be well, be safe, and watch out for one another. As I fade to black.